guys, hope you're well. It's super early, which is why I'm having to do a voiceover because the hubby is still asleep. As you can see, still in my PJs, so cozy. But I'm going to do a meal prep for you today. So it is going to be 3 meals, and here is the first. So I actually got this recipe from Cheap Lazy Vegan, so check out her channel for the original recipe. But you'll need 2 different kinds of beans, some tomatoes, turmeric, ginger. I'm using Cajun spice, Italian seasoning, some tomato puree. There's 2 cloves of garlic. I'm actually using a whole white onion, and then I've got 5 very small sweet potatoes and some water. First of all, you want to wash and put your sweet potatoes in the oven. 45 minutes, gas mark 6 should be super efficient for these small little ones. If you've got a bigger potato, leave them in for longer. But to start prepping the actual bean stew itself, just put some water in a pan. I'm not using any oil in any of these ingredients. I forgot to mention when I showed you my ingredients that there's also red lentils in there as well. So for now, I'm just gonna chop up the onion. I'll put that on the stove to just kind of shallow fry in that water and keep frying those until they go soft. Also just kind of crushing in the 2 cloves of garlic for now. I'll add them to the pan and let them just kind of simmer for another couple of minutes. So next you need to open and wash your beans. Please make sure you wash your beans thoroughly. If you don't, you will be very, very windy. I try and wash these for a good couple of minutes just to enjoy the taste with no aftermath. So then just add the rest of your ingredients to the pot. So that's the tin of chopped tomatoes. That's just removing a cat hair, sorry. There is I think that's a tablespoon of ginger. We've then got a teaspoon of turmeric. Add some more if you feel that if you want some more. I thought that was quite enough. I'm only adding 1/4 teaspoon of Cajun spice as I am a wuss. I'm trying to do better with spices, but it does add just that nice little kick. And then I've got a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning as well. And I thought that just kind of really brought it together and made it feel more like a stew. And then a good healthy tablespoon of the tomato puree. And I'm adding about 150 ml of water here, just enough to kind of wet all of the ingredients. And mix in the tomato puree just to make it really, really tomatoey. Just add in the beans, give that a really good stir around, make sure the flavours can get into every single bean. Now rinse your lentils. I've got about a cup of lentils here, you can use more or less. I do like to make sure you rinse through the lentils. I did lose the footage of me adding the lentils to the pot, but add them to the pot, bring it to the boil and then simmer for about 20 minutes. While that's simmering away, I will show you the prep for meal 2, which will be a mushroom risotto. So we've got some risotto rice, some oxo vegetable stock cubes, mushrooms, half a white onion, 1 clove of garlic and some thyme. I'm doing a mushroom risotto, but you can use any vegetables you want. So first of all, I'm just boiling my kettle to make sure I've got enough hot water to make the stock, adding a small amount of water to another saucepan. And that's going to be the same as the bean stew. Just shallow fry your onions and your garlic. I'm chopping the onions up smaller in this dish than I did for the bean casserole. And then you can see just crushing in the garlic. So leave that for a couple of minutes just to shallow fry away. I'm using 2 stock cubes in this. And I prefer to use 2 because I really like the taste that they give. But if you're not too much of a fan of kind of the vegetable stocky taste, then only use 1 stock cube and make it a little bit more watery. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So this is completely down to your taste. So my jug holds 900 ml, but the recipe does call for a litre. So just add another 100 ml when you've got room in the jug. Just water, no more stock cubes. Just chopping up the mushrooms. I like to do them this way rather than in cubes, so that's perfect. Then I'm just going to add the risotto rice. So it's about 100 ml per person, so I'm just showing that a cup holds about 200 ml of rice. Now just make sure that every grain gets a little bit wet from the water that's in there before you add the stock, and then add the stock slowly, probably about 100 mils at a time. Give it a stir through, let that soak up, and then another 100 mils. This will probably take about 20 to 25 minutes to use all of the water. So while we're waiting, just fry your mushrooms in another little bit of water. I've got about a tablespoon of thyme. I think for me that's the right combination of flavours, but use whatever you want. If you want Italian seasoning in there or some rosemary or nothing at all, it's perfectly fine. So give it a good mix and then leave your mushrooms to cook. Oh, my timer's just gone to say that the stew is done, so I'm just giving that a stir and then I'll take that off the heat. So now prep for meal 3, which is going to be vegetable sushi. So we've got the vegetable rice, white rice and vinegar, some sesame seeds, nori wraps, half wraps Sainsbury's. Why only half wraps? Craziness. I don't actually have sugar in my house, so I'm using the stevia Truvia, which is just a plant-based sweetener. We've got some soy sauce for dipping, carrots, spring onions, cucumber and avocado. These are going to be delicious. Oh, wait, just to prove we're doing it all in one day, there's the risotto on the side, there is the casserole on the side. We're going to make the rice according to this recipe, according to the instructions. Feel free to pause the video and get the instructions if you've lost yours. So just washing the rice there, make sure I'm putting it in my pan. I kind of like to wash it out into a bowl, measure the water into a measuring jug and then rinse it round the bowl to make sure I get every last grain in the pot. I don't know why I do this. I think it just makes me feel better. Feel free to add it straight into the pot if that works better for you. But this is how I like to do it. Add the rest of the water into the pan. Put the pan on, bring it to boil and then put the lid on and simmer for 10 minutes. Do not touch it and then leave it for the 25 to 30 minutes after. Now your risotto, once you've got all the stock in there, put the lid on, take it off the heat and leave that to sit for 10 minutes and then it should look like this and it's all done. So that's the sushi rice on the boil. It's just steaming. Oh, it's finished. Don't take the lid off. Do not take the lid off. Leave that. Once you've had your 25 to 30 minutes, now I'm just going to add all of the ingredients into the rice. That's the 3 tablespoons of the rice vinegar. I think it's supposed to be a tablespoon of sugar, but I'm just going to add 1 sachet of the Truvia and then a teaspoon of salt, and I use this low sodium salt. It seems to taste perfectly nice. I'm not a massive salt fan, but these work in all of these dishes. Give this a really, really good stir through and then we can use it for the sushi. So I'm just going to prepare the vegetables now. I'm just going to cut all of them into long, thick strips. I think it's called julienne. I'm not sure. I could be making it up completely. But yeah, kind of the longer the thing and the thinner the better, because then you can pack more in. So I've done the cucumber, spring onion, carrot. The carrot, yeah, be careful of your fingers. I nearly caught mine today, which would not have been helpful. And then I've just got using half an avocado for this recipe. That seemed to be all it needed. I do actually have a proper nori sushi wrap board, but I do put mine in a plastic bag and use that to roll. You'll also want to put some warm water. This kettle has cooled quite a lot since boiling it for the stock, so I'm not going to burn my fingers, but you will want to wet your fingers because the rice is quite sticky. So as you can see, it's the small half nori wraps which weren't really helpful, but what you want to do is get a nice big kind of plastic spoon like this if you have one. If not, a metal spoon is fine, but you may need to keep wetting it because it will stick. So just take a small amount of rice. I started off rolling these with quite a generous amount of rice and nearly run out at the end, which would have been devastating. But yeah, we kind of figured it out towards the end. Now, this first one I'm wrapping, I am doing lengthways, which didn't really quite work for these half wraps. So if you've got a full wrap, do it this way. If you've only got the half wrap, do it the other way, which I'll show you in a second. It just worked better. But yeah, you will see. But if you haven't rolled before, what you want to do is just fold it over the ingredients, use the bamboo board and just squeeze it tight. Now I'm by no means an expert in rolling sushi. I just kind of do what I can. And as you can see, I'm really struggling with this one because there's not enough wrap to wrap it up properly because I've done it lengthways rather than widthways. So this one was not my best sushi wrap ever. but I'm sure it'll still be fine. Oh, it does look really sad though, doesn't it? Bless it, all leaking out. Never mind. Live it, learn it. Okay, so now you can see I'm rolling it the other way. I think I've still got too much rice in there, still too generous, but this way worked so much better. So remember, half wraps, roll them this way. Big normal wraps, roll them the other way. See, I'm just having to pull that back because I didn't put it on the front there. Give it a squeeze it all together. Mine do tend to look more square than circular, but you know, they all taste delicious. My square nori wrap. But yes, this is how they're supposed to look. Now, so as not to bore you, I've rolled them all up and I'm just cutting them. As you can see, they look pretty normal, pretty much as you would expect a vegetable sushi wrap to look. So here they are, all boxed up, looking delicious. I actually forgot to put the sesame seeds into the rice, which was my plan for today. So I just decided to sprinkle some on top of them while they were in their boxes. And they were still absolutely delicious. But here is all the meal prep today. So I got 5 of the bean stews / casseroles. I know I've been calling them 2 different names. 3 lots of the risotto and 3 lots of the sushi. Now this will be for me and my husband to pick up whenever we want this week. I did save the sushi that I couldn't cut up. I was scared to cut it up in case it fell apart. But yes, I did actually have this for my breakfast and it was really, really good. I just ate it like that. It was like one of the nori wraps. A bit messy, but great. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.